Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. This is Specialist Garrett Dacca with 11th Signal Brigade.
Hey, this is Eric Franklin with the Fort Hood Public Affairs Office.
And this is Samantha Harms, also with the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and you are listening to Fort Hood's
Great Big Podcast. Welcome back. Today, we have the Directorate of Public Works with us. Can you introduce yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Brian Dosa. I'm the Fort Hood DPW, or Director of Public Works. And so I get to lead a team of about 400 employees that are working hard every day to take care of and keep our facilities and our infrastructure across Fort Hood working and running for our soldiers. And today, I've also brought Brent Cabanis. He's one of our chiefs within DPW, heads up our engineering division.
So, Brent, tell me a little bit about what you do.
Okay. As Mr. Dosa mentioned, I work for our engineering division. I'm the chief of our engineering division. We have 50 employees there in the engineering division, and we handle a lot of the construction activities on Fort Hood. So we have engineers that develop projects to fix things on Fort Hood that need to be repaired, that have been broken, things we want to improve.
Okay.
All the way from little bitty small things to fixing a single office all the way up through a major building renovation type project.
Okay, that's good because we have some building problems that we have here in our building. But we'll get with that. We'll get with you on that afterwards. No, but so are you guys doing the starting with are you doing the bridges, or do you have work with? Are you involved in those bridges, or no?
The DPW certainly is.
Okay.
My office is probably a little more hands off on that project than we typically are. That's not one that falls under our umbrella, but
okay.
Definitely within the DPW, that is our project. Yes, sir.
Yes, we actually have the Corps of Engineers that does some of our construction projects. In fact, more than some, probably about half of our construction is done by the Corps of Engineers. Great partners, they do great work, but they're the ones who actually have overseen the project to construct Turkey Run Bridge. And so we're super excited about that one because that bridge, if you've been out there, you've seen, but it's basically done, the bridge itself. We need to get the road that leads up to the bridge complete and demolish the old low water crossing. There's a bunch of site work that needs to be done before the project is officially complete, but the bridge itself is pretty close.
Okay. And just so what was the need to get the Turkey Run Bridge redone? Yeah,
so across Fort Hood, we have several places where when you're driving on a regular paved road in your car or truck, the road intentionally kind of goes down and over top of a creek or a stream.
Mm-hmm.
And we call that a low water crossing. And those low water crossings are designed that when it's dry, like now, and there's not a lot of water, it's no issue. But when we get a flash flood, so in Texas, when it rains, it pours, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we get a flash flood, it's designed so that the water would actually go on top of the road. And so we have several of those. We had about like 15 of those across Fort Hood. And some of them are really dangerous. And when we would have a flash flood, the more traffic roads, we would go out and put barricades and block them off so that drivers and cars wouldn't actually try to use them. But at this particular location, so this is on Turkey Run Road where it crosses the Clear Creek. One morning back in April of 2017, we had some flash flooding after midnight, and the water in that creek was like 3 or 4 feet above the roadway. And we had put the barricades up, and we had a soldier that was on his way to PT. He lived out in Comanche, and he was on his way to PT. He belonged to 3rd CR. And for whatever reason, he decided to try to go around the barricades, and his car got caught up in the water and got swept downstream. And unfortunately, he just died in that incident, and we never even found his body. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's very, very tragic. And we knew that was one of our more dangerous low water crossings. But that tragedy I think was enough impetus to actually cause the Army and Congress to provide a little bit more money for us to be able to build that bridge. And so we're really happy to, soon have a bridge that will take not only POVs, cars and trucks and stuff across that Turkey Run bridge safely, but then also our combat vehicles, because that bridge also serves to move vehicles that are on their way to the railhead. And it's always been a problem for us if we had to move vehicles to the railhead quickly. If we had flash flooding, that would be a real incident for us. It would slow up our deployment processes. Okay.
So do you have a timeline on when this bridge will be complete?
Yeah, so the bridge itself is going to be complete in the September timeframe, but the road that leads up to the bridge, so we're reconstructing the road from Clear Creek all the way to the bridge. I think it's about a mile, Brett. About a mile?
Yes, sir.
About a mile. A mile-long stretch there, and that road was in pretty bad shape. And so we didn't want to have a brand-new bridge and a terrible road. And we did our best to sync it up, and Brent's team's done a great job. So the road's not going to be done probably until October. So we're probably looking at about a month after the bridge. So by October, middle of October, we'll have both of those completed and open for people to be able to use.
Okay. And just this year, you guys have been working on a lot of projects across the installation. What are some of the other big projects that DPW, Directorate of Public Works, has working on this year?
Each year we do about 1,000 projects. Again, anything from little bitty small projects to big projects. The one that probably most people notice around Post and are the barracks renovations. We have a big focus on renovating our 99 barracks on Fort Hood, and we have 7 that are currently under renovation now. We're just wrapping up 4 that had been under construction, so we're in a position where we have 7 now under construction, and as of last week, we just awarded 4 more, actually, to start renovation on those. So our renovations right now are in what we call the Hammerhead Barracks. They're called that based on if you look at them from the sky, they look like the shape of a hammer. And so we will have 11 of those barracks under renovation to completely gut those rooms. They'll tear down the existing barracks rooms and build back a new barracks room that looks like a modern hotel or apartment style barracks when it's complete.
Can you come do my barracks next? I could use that renovation.
Yeah, we'd love to do that. So I'm glad, Brent, that you mentioned that, because those barracks were built back in the 1950s, those hammerheads, and we'd done some work on them over the years, but they were to that point where we needed to completely gut them and rebuild them. And so the soldiers that live in those barracks, primarily 3rd CR, we also have some soldiers from 1st Cav Vardy that live there, and they're pretty much crammed into pretty ugly looking barracks right now. And when they're done, when they're renovated, they're going to be a 1+1 configuration. So each soldier would have their own individual room with a walk-in closet, and then they would share a kitchenette and bathroom and kind of a little sitting area. So we're really excited about the quality of the renovation. And like Brent said, we've gotten the resources in terms of money from the Army to be able to do the renovations and continue that program.
So quick story about barracks. I've lived in the ones in the COSCOM area, I can't think of what kind. Yes. I've lived in those, and then I lived some right there off a tank destroyer. And I'm going to date myself. I was in barracks when we lived in the ones by COSCOM. We had 3 people in those rooms, and it was 3 people, sharing one bathroom, but it worked. And I've seen them now, and I've seen the renovations that they've gone through, and I think that seeing where they came from, and then seeing where they're going, I think the improvement is great, and I think the soldiers are going to appreciate having that single space, because I again, sharing a room with 3 people was terribly hard. Yeah. But this was also in the late 90s. But so and there's the 100th barracks coming up here soon, correct? Has that broke ground already?
So you got your numbers down. So we have 99 barracks on Fort Hood currently, but as you just said, barrack number 100 is under construction. It's been fully funded. The contract's been awarded. And it's going to be constructed out at 69th ADA. So that campus, if you drive out East Range Road and head out to where the 69th, we've got a number of brigade headquarters, battalion headquarters, company ops, and motor pools, but we haven't had barracks out there until now. So we're going to build Barrack 100, and we actually have received the money from Congress to build Barrack 101 out there. So we're going to have two. Those contracts haven't been awarded yet, but we're going to have two barracks out there. Each one will be about 250 beds, and those will also be, current state-of-the-art 1+1 configuration with each soldier having their own room and a walk-in closet and a shared common space.
So for what kind of barrack shape are those going to be? Or are they going to be like the ones that we have, the hammerheads that you mentioned, or how are those going to look?
We just call them our modern barracks. They don't have a particular nickname other than the modern barracks. It'll look similar probably to the barracks that 3rd Brigade 1st Cav has right there on 72nd Street. Or, something like that. It'll be a modern, pleasant-looking exterior appearance, and then inside will be about 125 suites with 2 soldiers sharing that, each having their individual room but sharing that suite.
Okay. One more question about that whole area campus out there. Why do they get to have their own campus? I think some people feel kind of jealous. I have an idea of why they have it, but I think if why do they get to have their own campus or their own area? Yeah,
for sure. So when the Army about 15 years ago decided to downsize their presence in Europe, a number of decisions were made to bring units back from Germany. So 1st Armored Division in total went to Fort Bliss, and we, the Army, built them a large campus for their 3 brigades at Fort Bliss. And so we didn't get a whole division, but we got an Air Defense Artillery Brigade. And so the 69th ADA, as part of that effort, was brought to Fort Hood, and we received dollars from Congress, MILCON dollars, to construct their campus out there. But obviously there wasn't room, on Motor Pool Row, to build that many facilities. So we had to find a place that could be its own campus, and that was the most logical place. It's a little bit of a drive for their soldiers to get out there, but it's right adjacent to the training area, and they're able to do their training, on their Patriots and things pretty easily from right near their campus.
Okay.
Oh, nice and convenient.
Very, except it's a little bit of a drive to get out there. But once we get some barracks out there and a dining facility eventually, then things will be much better. And I believe AFES has committed to building an express out there.
Oh,
So once we get a barracks built, then we'll get an express. There'll be some food options and some gas. And so I think we're going to see some positivity out there.
All right. They're getting spoiled out there, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what's going on out there.
I want a 1+1 room. Come on. Oh, man. So do you guys have plans to work towards renovating future barracks in other areas as well?
Definitely. The plan currently, we're going to award 7 barracks this year, and then next year the plan is to renovate 5 more. We'll continue with the Hammerhead renovations, but we'll move over into the 9400 block, which are 3 CR barracks, I believe.
Okay.
And then the following year, we hope to get 3 more barracks renovations to complete out all the Hammerheads. So that would tackle all of the I guess, oldest, poorest quality barracks on Fort Hood, and then we'll move on to others. So the barracks renovation train will just keep on trucking. I'm sure we'll get to the point we renovate all 99 and we'll start over again. I'm sure that's...
May take a while.
We hope not, but we hope. We hope. But it's interesting. I mean, you mentioned the progress that you've seen, since you were stationed here. And if you look back over the last 12 years, we've renovated, I think the count is 61 or 62 barracks, of an investment of about $650 to $700 million into those barracks. And the ones we've renovated are performing really well. We used to have in the Volar barracks, we used to have a lot of mold issues in the Volar barracks because they were open. The exteriors weren't really sealed very well. The air conditioning, HVAC systems were kind of antiquated, and we've really solved those problems. Every once in a while we'll have a mold issue, but by and large, 35 of our 99 barracks are Volars. So in those 35 barracks, since we've renovated, we've had very few issues with mold. So we're real pleased with the quality of the renovation, and we're going to continue.
I know living in those barracks, we would have the windows that opened up as like a small courtyard in the middle. It was nothing. It wasn't a courtyard, but it was a courtyard. It was like as big as this table, and that was our AC, and that was it. But I remember the mold. I know that was an issue then, because I remember we'd have to have the windows open because it was just so hot. I don't think we had AC. I could be wrong. It could have been
didn't work.
Yeah, it may not have worked, and we just didn't know any better. So
I mean, simple things like just putting a roof on. I mean, we put a metal standing seam metal roofs on those buildings. I mean, so now we don't have water coming in through the roof. We don't have water coming in because we've closed them up. We made the windows non-operable, which I know is a frustration for some soldiers, but it really helps us maintain the climate inside the buildings and make sure it's safe and doesn't produce mold, and all those things together. The quality of life for those soldiers is so much higher now. So
okay. Also, I know that you guys are working on, I think it's the 3rd SFAB's brigade headquarters here, and I think there was another building that you guys are working on. How do you decide which, or is it a seniority? Not what's the word I'm looking for? How do you guys decide which projects to take on?
Well, that's a pretty complicated algorithm there, but in quality, there's definitely a lot of factors that play into it. Quality being one. You mentioned the SFAB, and Mr. Dosa mentioned 69th ADA. Those were new missions that came to Fort Hood, and there was an opportunity for money to come along with that from the Army to get buildings ready. But we have some, like with our roads. It's pretty hard to look at Fort Hood and say, what's the best way to spend the somewhat small amount of money we have to fix things on Fort Hood? Is it better to tear out a road and rebuild it, or just restripe it, those kind of things? So the Army does give us some tools that we keep an inventory of those from a road program, and it evaluates quality, and it helps us make some of those decisions. What's the best way to take that amount of money we have and spread it across as many roads as we can?
Okay.
Buildings and things, sometimes it's not quite that sophisticated. HVAC systems, typically when an HVAC system's not working, we hear about it pretty quickly. So those kind of tell us themselves when there's a problem. So I guess there's not a real clear-cut answer to that. But quality is certainly probably the primary condition we look at to make those decisions, but there are other factors at play as well.
Yeah, That's good, Brent. It's, in a lot of cases, we have to try to compete with the rest of the Army to get money to do projects on Fort Hood. So, we'll make our case based on, as Brent said, the quality ratings in a building, or maybe based on a new mission. So in the case of the SFAB, we had a brand new unit come to Fort Hood, and we said to the Army, hey, that we don't have a building that's suitable, for their headquarters to go in. It's going to be an 06 command, 2nd Command 06, and so we put together what we thought it would cost to renovate what was an old dining facility, and went back to the Army, and later that year we were able to get the money, and we did the project. So sometimes it just comes down to what competes well and what we can get other people to pay for.
All right.
It's always good to have someone else pay for it.
Always.
Well, it's all from the same money, and we all work for each other. But it's easier to have the big Army pay for it than it have to come out of other project funds here on Fort Hood.
And you had mentioned another one. So we're doing a new brigade headquarters for 36 engineers. So if you drive down Old Ironsides, there was like 2 dining facilities that were right in a row. They're both red brick.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those dining facilities had not been used as a dining facility for years. And so we were able to compete and get some money to convert that into a brigade headquarters. And that's going to have a double effect, because the building they're in now will become a squadron headquarters for 3rd CR, a battalion headquarters for 3rd CR. And so it's going to be a win-win. That squadron headquarters right now is in the Hammerhead Barrack, and we're going to be able to get them their own squadron headquarters. So that project, I think maybe this fall, Brent, is going to...
We're hoping for late summer, but fall is probably a little bit hedging our bet. Construction's supposed to be done into the summer. We have a kind of a furniture project after that to get some furniture in the building. So it'll be probably fall before 36 moves in.
So you mentioned 36 engineers, and that brought up another thing. I was here when they built Theodore Roosevelt and that 4-story, 5-story building. How come that's the only one on post like that?
The barracks.
The barracks, yes.
Yeah, well, we're glad it's the only one on post, because we've had a lot of issues with that building. And it's actually not 36 anymore. We actually have 69th ADA in that building now.
Okay.
But that building, We constructed that back in 2010, 11 timeframe, and the Army was trying to do a lot of construction because that was the same time that 1st Armored Division was coming back from Europe, and they were trying to do a lot of construction very quickly, and somebody, not the DPW, somebody made a decision to build that building using modular construction. So basically trailers, it's like a Lego building.
Okay.
Basically, we took trailers and we stacked them and put them in and then interconnected them. And to be honest, that type of construction just doesn't hold up very well. And we've had a lot of issues in that building. Hopefully we're past them, but we've had to take a lot of our own money to fix leaks and other problems that caused, hallways. I don't know if you've ever walked in that building, but you could almost get dizzy walking in the hallway because it settled, in a way that it wasn't straight and wasn't level. And so, yeah, we hope not to build one like that again.
And with just, I like talking about the barracks. Being here, Fort Bragg, Fort Polk, all of the Army, all the Army installations they're all different. But like if I go to an Air Force base, how is the barracks chose, or is it just this is the group that you can choose from, or this is the standard, or this is what's been working, or how are they chose?
In terms of how we build them?
Yeah, the design of which ones you decide to choose.
So the Army has a standard design for barracks, and so we follow that standard design, and we would site adapt it for utilities, and we would put some finishes on it so it would blend in well with Fort Hood in Central Texas. But the actual floor plans of the buildings, that's an Army standard.
Okay.
We don't reinvent the wheel every time on that.
Okay.
So you guys have talked a lot about the barracks on post. Is there any future projects involving the on post housing for married or soldiers with families?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that question because we're in the midst of a $420 million housing improvement program.
Oh, wow.
So I think the listeners may be tracking that we privatized our housing here on Fort Hood more than 20 years ago in 2001. And so the Army doesn't own the housing anymore. It's actually owned by a company called Lend-Lease. And together, Lend-Lease and the Army make up a LLC that's called Fort Hood Family Housing. So we're still very involved with, programmatic decisions and the oversight of housing. But when it comes to money and investment into the facilities, into the housing, that's really done by Lend-Lease. And so recently, probably about a year ago, Lend-Lease went out and secured $1.1 billion of new capital. Pretty sure that they borrowed that money. And then they're taking that money and they're putting it into some different housing projects. Of that $1.1 billion, Fort Hood got $420 million. That's a huge amount of money. And so we're using that money to build some new homes in Chaffee Village. So we're going to get about 550 to 600 new homes in Chaffee Village. Chaffee's the village that if you come right in on TJ Mills and the main gate, it's just right to the right. So half of Chaffee Village we demolished a few years ago, so it's already ready to build. The other half exists, and as we build the new housing in the first half, then we'll demolish the second half and build there. That's probably the most exciting, but we're also going to be doing a bunch of interior renovations out in places like Comanche, because we know those houses are going to be around for a while. So we're going in and doing a complete upgrade of the kitchens, of the flooring, of the molding, the paint schemes, just making it more of a modern and pleasant place to live. We're putting new roofs on about 2/3 of our homes, which it doesn't sound very exciting, but it's got to keep the water out of the house. And so many of our roofs were in terrible shape. So, we're tremendously excited about this housing investment program, and you're going to see a lot of utility work and site development and things are ongoing now, but you're going to see actual construction of homes start towards the end of September.
Okay.
So we're within 60 days, I think, of actually seeing the first. In fact, if you've noticed, we've created a new construction entrance into Chaffee Village. Of course,
yes.
Eric, you were out there, you saw the bridge.
Yeah.
So we, we're going to have a way for people that are working in Chaffee and deliveries of concrete and materials and things like that to go directly into the village and not have to go through the normal gate and get vetted and all the rest, because we're going to fence off Chaffee and kind of bubble it off from the rest of the installation. So you got to see the new bridge go in. That was real exciting.
It was pretty cool too. not gonna lie, I was pretty excited. So one more thing that I have is, so the water tower that's down with the big one that's in the middle of nowhere. It's not in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of the motor pools. So this is how old I am. I remember when that used to be red and white and it was checkered. So how do you guys decide when to repaint them or what to paint them?
Yeah, so great question. So our water towers are now owned by a company called American Water. So just like we privatized our housing in 2001, a few years ago, 2009, actually, we privatized all of our water and our wastewater system. So American Water is our partner for water, wastewater. And so they own all of those elevated storage tanks. And they're on a regular cycle to get painted. And so we will, as we repaint them, we'll update the patches. In fact, right, as the Army, as Congress finalizes the decision to rename Fort Hood as Fort Cavazos, we'll be painting that tower to say Fort Cavazos, the great place. So hopefully the timing of that will all work out. But so that's how we paint them. But they're on a regular schedule for maintenance. They're actually extremely expensive to paint. How much do you think to paint a water tower would cost?
I'll say 100,000.
So
what do you got?
Oh,
guess higher.
Guess
okay.
higher.
350,000.
So a little bit higher than that. So to repaint the one that's over by the exchange and the commissary on Clear Creek. I mean, each one's a little different size, but that particular one, to repaint just the upper half of the bowl and to put the name on it's about $500,000.
Oh my gosh!
What?
So when you're talking about the cost of the materials to prep it, to get people up there safely, all those things together, it's very, very expensive. But we're eventually going to get them all done.
Okay.
Well, with a price tag like that,
that's
it's
a lot.
no surprise.
It's not
It's not done like every month. Yeah,
It's nothing.
Yeah.
That's some prep work.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
That's all I have too. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add? One last thing?
No, I don't think so for me.
Yeah, I would just remind folks that if you have issues in your buildings or your facilities across Fort Hood, please let us know. We've got about 400 people in DPW that are working really, really hard every day to take care of our buildings and our infrastructure. And for the most part, I think we do a really good job with that, but we're not very good about finding problems. We really rely on, customers and units and folks to tell us when things are broken and not astray. So if people have an issue in one of their buildings, or if they see a pothole in a road, or a traffic signal's not working, or there's a light that's out, it doesn't have to be in a building per se. Anything with the facilities and infrastructure, please let us know. We have a 287-2113 as our 24/7 work reception desk. If you call that number, somebody 24/7 will answer it. They'll take your information and we'll get that in the system. There's also a new way to submit those work orders using an app. It's called the Army Maintenance App, ARMA, and you can go on www.armymaintenance.com, and you can sign up for that app and have access. But that would be just a reminder to folks to call stuff in if it's not right, because we'd like to get it fixed.
Okay.
All right. Well, we do appreciate it. We appreciate all the renovations that are going on around Post, and all the help you guys are to the maintenance going on around Post and throughout Fort Hood. So one last thank you for coming on today. And
Thank you.
Speaking about great DPW at the great place.
We
Directorate
appreciate
of Public
the
Works.
opportunity, right?
Thanks for having
Not
us.
department. We appreciate the opportunity, and thank you all very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Flash floods in central Texas happen within only a few hours of rain. Every year, more than 80% of flood fatalities involve vehicles, and about 10 people drown in their vehicles each year in Texas. Vehicles of every size can lose control, float, and roll over in flood conditions. Is taking the risk worth it? Is it worth the risk of leaving loved ones behind? Overconfidence kills. Don't drive through floodwater. It's not worth it.
Wow. So today we had DPW, the department, not the department,
Not the department.
not Department of
No.
Public Works.
Directorate.
It's Directorate of Public Works.
That's right.
They came in and they talked about some really good information today, and just about the barracks, the new barracks that we're getting. And I think soldiers are going to be really pleased with the work that they're doing once they get into those new barracks.
Yes, we will be.
Yes, we have one here.
Yes, I have seen those new rooms in some of the newer barracks, and all I can say is I want one.
Exactly.
So I'm waiting for them to redo our barracks, but I know it's going to take some time. So I'm happy for the other soldiers that kind of get, that were living in the much older 1950s buildings, getting into those newer
That's
barracks
crazy.
rooms.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it. Oh. No, pass.
Yeah. A hard pass. on
Hard
that.
pass.
Hard pass.
Yeah. Definitely no. No.
Okay, well, speaking of definitely no's, we're going to talk about yeses
Okay.
because it is Traveling Soldier Month,
It is.
week. Yes. Unfortunately, Blair is not here.
Oh.
I know. Very sad. She could not make it this week. So we're going to have to just do it
Wing
without her.
Aw.
Yeah, wing it. We're going to
Wing
have to
it?
wing it.
Oh,
It's not going to be as
sing.
good, but I know.
Well,
Blurgan?
we'll try.
Blurgan?
Blurgan. We'll try.
Oh boy. Okay, so this month for July, Blair had covered the Harry Ransom Center, which is on the University of Texas campus. She covered the Domain, and she covered Topgolf.
Ooh.
And then Chris Hawks, the Sentinel design editor, also covered downtown Fort Worth. So yeah.
The Fort Worth, I love going down. I love going down to Fort Worth. There's several places down there. I think it's like the Sunrise Cafe or something. Sunset. I don't know. It's something. But nonetheless, if you have the time to get out and go down to the stockyards or just to downtown Fort Worth, you're going to love it. You're fall in love with the place because it has that modern times feel to it with still that stockyard feel, that country feel. Like
the
if
Texas.
the Texas, that's true Texas.
You got to go see the Longhorn cattle drive.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's a statement.
Yeah.
Like,
It's fun. Also, another thing that you have to do if you get on 35 North, one of the biggest stops that you have, there's two stops. There's Buc-ee's. You have to go to Buc-ee's.
Yes, Buc-ee's.
And if once you get to West, you have to go get you some kolaches from what is the place in West? Oh, I can't think of it. It'll come back.
I heard
to me.
there's two different places that are like competing.
Yes, there is. I see them.
You see the signs in your
I
head.
see the signs in my head, and I literally, and if people watching, I'm actually putting my hands up.
Yes.
But I see the signs in my head, but I can't put them.
Well-
but there's two. They're good.
I'll tell you what, I will come back after this weekend because I'm actually heading up to Dallas.
Oh.
So I will bring that information back with me.
Yes, there you go. I love that.
And I'll stop at Busey's. I mean Buc-ee's.
Busey's. Yes, Busey's.
Buc-ee's.
Also, the place down in Austin. I don't think I've ever been there, but
the
I've
Harry Ransom Center.
the Harry Ransom Center. But I've remember reading a story about it a few months ago. It just has a bunch of old history stuff from around the state of Texas and from around the world, just about history, and it's a good place to go and be able to have that knowledge base. I know with COVID on the downslope, people are able to get out and see museums, and it's not really a museum. I think it's more of a repository of information.
There you go. Yes. So it is home to a large collection of books and manuscripts, art, photographs, and materials that continue to grow, as quoted from Blair's article in the Sentinel.
Oh, see, Blair's helping us out,
Yes,
even
she
though
is.
she's not here.
Blair
here,
again.
but I'm still reading her writing.
Exactly.
Yes. So yeah, I've never been there either, but it looks amazing.
Yeah.
So.
I like history. I might take a look. But I'll tell you what I have taken a look at down in Austin.
What's that?
Topgolf.
Topgolf?
Yeah.
Yes. I am a huge fan of Topgolf. And here's why. They set you up in your own personal lane, right? They already have clubs for you. You don't got to worry about that. So you just show up, little seating area. They got that tee box right there, and you just start playing. And guess what? A server will walk by and take your order while you're golfing.
That would be the thing you're most excited about.
I do love food.
True story. But the Top Golf that she went to was a Top Golf backyard.
Oh.
So it's the one in Waco. It's the same concept,
Okay.
but it's not layered like the rest of them
Right.
are. It's like a
Just
backyard.
one level, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's? I actually just went to that one
Oh my
And Waco-
goodness.
2 weeks ago in Waco.
Yeah, it's really nice there.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
They have mini golf.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're
Topgolf, mini golf.
I remember when they said, "Oh, we're going to bring a Top Golf to Waco." People were like, "Oh, it's not going to do any good business," but it's doing great business because it's fun. Like
Yeah.
It's very fun.
I've seen the one time I went there to the one in Waco, we had a guy in our party, and I don't know how he was doing it, but he was able to hit it over the net.
Wait, I saw a
Wow.
video
Yeah, it's
on
very
like,
hard.
social media where this guy had to like actually the people working at Topgolf had to come and ask him, could you please stop golfing because you keep hitting them over the net?
Yeah.
And we need you to stop. And the guy in the video, like recording the video, was like, how many times have you ever had to ask somebody to do that? And he said, never.
Never. Yeah, I don't know how they do it.
That's
Clearly,
crazy.
they play golf way more
Yeah.
than what they should if they're able to do that. Like that's that's a talent that I think you have to.
You really got to work at that.
Yeah,
You do.
You have to. Like
do.
golf is your life. Golf is life.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but last up on the list of places for traveling soldier this week was the Domain.
Yes.
If you haven't
I
been
love
down
the
to the
Domain.
Domain, where have you been?
The place is awesome.
Here, because I have not been.
What?
I know.
You just told us that you love to go to Austin to play Top Golf. Okay, well, it's like right there.
Yeah.
The
Well-
heck you doing?
I don't know. No one's told me about this before.
Oh my goodness.
So, give you the lowdown and skinny. The Domain is it's a movement. It's a vibe.
It's a movement.
It's a movement.
I like
Oh,
that.
I do like to move and
That's a
groove.
just-
I say that
Description.
because at one time I was going to move down to the Domain, and then I saw how much those apartments were going for, and I said,
yeah.
no, thank you. But they have housing down there. They have restaurants. They have bars. They have just a bunch of stuff for you to do, and some of it's free, but it's just it's almost like a small city inside of inside of a bigger city. The Domain, they have the Apple store down there. They used to have a Windows store, but it's gone. They have
Windows.
who uses Windows? They have a Tesla showroom down there. Like there's so much stuff that you can see and do window shopping. There's a Gucci store, Louis
Yeah,
Vuitton.
it's basically like a giant outdoor shopping mall,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
like elevated beyond belief.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little more fancy.
Very
Yeah.
fancy.
Very, like, I got to
Yeah.
put on a suit?
Yes.
Slacks.
Okay.
Oh, definitely slacks. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
I got to go buy some slacks.
You could buy them at the Domain.
No, I got to
Exactly.
buy them before I go. I want to show up looking nice.
Well, okay, here's what you do. You show up looking kind of grungy.
Okay.
And then you go into the store, you buy your nice slacks, and then you come out and people are like, whoa, blown
Where did
away.
this guy come from?
Who the heck is this guy? And why does he
Right.
look like the mayor?
Exactly.
People will be blown away.
All right. I definitely have grungy clothes.
You know, I believe that.
Hey, Northern California,
Yeah.
some of those roots stuck.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah. The Domain is definitely not what you see in Northern California. So, just saying.
All right.
But it's a good time to be had. Go down there. You can have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at different locations. And if you want to try different stuff, I mean, I'm literally any type of food that you want, they may have it there.
You had me at food.
Food, exactly.
They have great food.
Yes, delicious.
All right. Well, I'll go take a trip. After my trip to Dallas, I'll go back
Oh, there you
back
go.
down to Austin. next
What's
weekend.
going on in Dallas that you're just going up there to hang out?
I can't say. I will.
Ooh, an OPSEC kind of
Yes,
thing going on
kind
right
of.
now?
I will
Ooh.
come back and share the news, but it is a surprise.
Okay.
I
So
love
let's
that.
I hear a
She's-
traveling
Let's
soldier
hope
coming
she's
up.
not listening.
Oh, boy.
I hear a traveling soldier coming up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe.
A soldier is traveling.
Oh.
So there you have it.
Yeah, there you go. So what you should do then is check out the Traveling Soldier articles from the Fort Hood Sentinel that we've been talking about, so you can find many more activities to do while you're in
Like
Dallas.
activities.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
Well, that wasn't so bad without Blair.
It was weird.
It was
weird.
And we need her
She
back.
was missed.
She's definitely missed. It's no offense to you two, but she's just so fun.
Ouch.
You know.
She carries the show.
She
does.
does. She
She really
carries
does.
this segment, and she'll carry next week's segment too, because we'll have book and movie of the month.
Yes.
So yeah, look forward to that, people.
I will.
Great.
Great.
I love
Fine.
that. Good.
Fine.
Okay, I'm done with you clowns.
All right. That's fair.
That's fair. All right. That's it. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for picking it up. And yeah, don't forget to pick up your Fort Hood Sentinel this week also. That's all I got.
That's right. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to this podcast. Give us 5 stars, please.
And have a great week.
Bye.
This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Hood and Fort Hood Public Affairs production. The show's theme music is written and produced by Delicious All-Stars. All our music is obtained through Filter by Song Trader. Have a question or want to share some insights with us? Email us at forthoodpao@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at USAG Fort Hood. And as always, be sure to leave a review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.